Hello, everyone. I'm the Chief AI Officer at Jain Digital. Today, I'm inviting my friend Arvind for a fireside chat. Arvind and I actually worked, on the Glean stuff in my previous two companies as well, Zscaler and Palo Alto Network, when I was the head of the AI at these two companies. So we knew each other for a while, and then interestingly enough, it's a coincidence actually. We actually are going to do the pilot of Glean soon. So Arvind, the founder CEO of Glean, why don't you just do a very quick intro of yourself, and then we can go into some questions.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me, Howie. And I'm excited to be here, share more about Glean with all of you. And before I start, like a quick background on me. So I'm the founder and CEO of Glean. Before that, I've been in the tech industry for about 30 years myself. We started a company called Rubrik before Glean in 2014. I used to work at Google before that, starting with when Google was a relatively small, privately held startup. So I've worked on search for a very, very long time, and mostly on Google search, but now on Glean. And yeah, so that's my background. I'm really excited to be here. Talk a little bit of like how AI is going to change the world.
So we all know Google, right? Google does the search for the last 20 plus years. And one thing that's very interesting is the enterprise search never worked. Actually, Google started a company trying to do enterprise search. I don't know how many of you knew that. And then they gave up for one reason or another. And then they did a consumer search. Some of you were born after that decision. But the reality is enterprise search never worked. Why is that? And then why did you start a company? Because there were companies after companies trying out doing enterprise search. Why did you start this company?
Yeah. Well, I mean, enterprise search is it's a very old problem that has existed. Actually, it predates consumer search by many, many decades as well. Because in businesses, you have a lot of information, you have a lot of data, and people work and they need that information to do their work. So making that information easily searchable has always been a dream for every business that is out there. So Google in the early days, we did actually have, we thought that the main way we're going to make money is with enterprise search. And we built this box, the yellow box. I don't know, most of you probably haven't seen it. It used to be an appliance that you would put in a customer's data center and somehow get it to connect with your internal enterprise systems and then make things searchable. So like you have a Google-like thing inside your company. But Google failed at that initiative, and not just once, but like 5 times. We tried to go and build something in the enterprise. I think the next 4 failures were more because I think Google had become primarily a consumer company, and there was no real desire from the top leadership to actually solve this problem for the enterprise. And when we were starting the company in 2019, this was after I had started a successful company called Rubrik. We had grown a lot, like our business was worth multiple $billion, and so I was considered an entrepreneur who can potentially build another company. So I talked to a lot of investors and about this new idea that I had for search, and I'll tell you why I chose to work on it. But the first thing I actually heard from many of them was that, like, hey, look, we would love to, back you and invest in your company. You are a proven entrepreneur, but can you work on something other than search? Because nobody wanted to actually, invest in this domain because there's so many failures. It was a graveyard of companies. But when you think about like why was it so hard to actually build a successful company in search? Search is a fundamentally hard problem. In some ways, it's like you're trying to deliver magic, because what are you telling people? You're telling them that, hey, come and ask a question, and we'll surface the right information, the right answer back to you. And that's sort of like magic. That's like the oracle. That's the 8 ball. And people have very high expectations, and it requires you to build a lot of technology behind the scenes. Now, in the early days, it was always
I'm
hard.
sure there are a lot of challenges. Can you name the top challenge of
Yeah.
building the enterprise search?
Yeah. So the number one like just connecting to enterprise information is so hard, it's so difficult. And in the pre-SaaS world, like when we didn't have these cloud-based, um, easy to use software services, you actually would buy software on CDs. You'd have like hundreds of different versions of your enterprise software, and your data was actually in private servers inside the data center, and it was extremely hard to just actually even go and connect with those systems. Cloud-based SaaS systems actually made it easy, and I thought they made it really, really easy. And that was actually the motivation for why I wanted to actually now solve the problem, because I knew, well, if I have the data, I can go and then actually make it searchable. I have like good experience with it. And SaaS would allow me to actually have that data. So that was a big unlock. But then the second thing is what makes search special, what makes Google special is that it gets to learn a lot from people. There are billions of searches that happen every day, billion plus people using the product. And people are actually constantly telling Google, um, giving it so many signals that allows it to actually create that magical experience. For example, you ask for something and don't see good results, and then you sort of tweak your search query. You change the words in it, and now you're happy with what results you get back. But when you did that, when you issued those two searches to Google actually learned that those two phrases that you entered are conceptually similar, right? Even though the dictionary may not tell you so, but in colloquial terms, they are similar because a user actually came and did their refinement on the query like that. So you learn a lot like that. And in the enterprise, unfortunately, you don't have that. You don't have enough documents to build page rank. You don't have enough user activity to learn from people. And that sort of then, like when you accumulate a lot of information, you could not disambiguate what is good information versus what's not relevant, for any given topic. So that was another big issue in the enterprise, and we solved it in a different way. I can go into the details of that.
Yeah, please, because the first question, the first hurdle is somewhat overcome by much better data platform, cloud system. So it's much easier to to connect the data, right? The second one is still the same challenge 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. How do you overcome that?
Yeah. So like thinking about enterprise information, so you have it spread across hundreds of systems, and also information has been produced over a long period of time. So there's also information that has now become obsolete, out of date. But when you think about like how humans are using that information inside the company, well, you are actually continuously doing things inside, in these systems. Employees are actually reading certain information. People are sharing information with each other. People are sharing documents. So if you start to actually observe activity, and not just in your search system that you're building yourself, but if you start to observe activity inside your Google Drive or OneDrive, inside your SharePoint, observe what the actual conversations that are happening in Teams, um, or like if you're using Zoom or meeting recording, see how what discussions are happening there, you start to actually see there are a lot of valuable signals out there. For example, when somebody goes in Teams and asks a question, and somebody else responds with an answer which is a link to a document, well, you can build that association that some smart human in your company thought that for that particular question, that document had the right answer. And so if you start to observe and observe outside of the search product, there's a lot that you can tap into to sort of understand within an enterprise, number one, what information is up to date, what information has become stale, what information has high engagement versus what's actually sort of somewhere in the corner, nobody's looking at that information. You can also see a given document, for example, is there a particular affinity to a team, a specific team? For example, there may be an onboarding guide, but is only your hardware team or your marketing team is looking at them, not other people. So it sort of helps you build that association, that what knowledge matters to whom. So these are all the things that we had to solve. I think we built the product for the Glean product the same way as we built Google. It was just that the environment was different, the signals were different, but the core concept was the same. Try to learn as much from the human wisdom that is sort of buried inside your systems.
But there's still a fundamental question. Like for Google, there are billions of people using it. For popular search, there are millions of data points for you to build a system around it, right? But for enterprise search, other than maybe benefits, thousands of people in this company may search for the same thing. For most of that, two people may search one thing, three people. And how do you even build a system to optimize the search? What is the fundamental thing you break through this?
Well, look, I mean, yes, it is true that you have fewer number of documents and fewer interactions in the enterprise, but there are also some good things. One of them being that the information on the internet can be of very, very varying levels of quality. There is also a lot of people trying to fool you and a lot of people trying to actually get clicks and visits on your web page. So you are in a different world. There are a lot of other challenges you have to solve. There are a lot of adversaries. But inside an enterprise, you don't have adversaries. You also have highly trained workforce that is creating high quality documents. And you also get to actually see over time, like one of the things that we do is on any given topic, on any given topic inside your company, we also build an understanding of who are the subject matter experts on that topic. For example, who's the latest expert on the LLM technology, or who's an expert on verification of certain in certain domain. You get to actually see that. You get to actually build that knowledge graph behind the scenes. And then you utilize that. So like, while like when you come and ask a question, we may not have a document that has a lot of visits yet, but we know that it's actually produced by a known, expert on, on that topic. And we still can actually sort of bubble it up and, and use that for the search.
So basically you're saying that the less data points is a challenge, but at the same time you have other advantages. So it didn't worry you too much when you started a company, right? That was before ChatGPT moment.
Yeah.
So when ChatGPT moment came, what did that mean to your business? Was that a threat? Is that a boost? How did you look at it?
Yeah. Well, so one, I actually, like, we were talking about why we started Glean and what were the key moments or like, like sort of insights that we had. And I said that, SaaS was one, and but I think I didn't mention another one, which is, transformers and language models. They were, while like, the rest of the world didn't know about it at the time. Like today, like we all talk about LLMs and transformers and GPT. But in 2018, when we were starting, the only people who really cared about this large neural networks, from a language perspective, were search teams inside Google. And so me and like most of our early employees, we all came from Google, and we actually saw that transformers were making a big impact on search. And so our first version of the product itself in 2019 was actually based on transformers. So like in that sense, we're probably one of the first enterprise Gen AI companies of the world. The term didn't exist at the time, but we've been using transformers in Glean, from those early days. All these terms got invented later, like Gen AI or vector search. But that conceptual matching, like the ability of machines to understand what you're asking at a conceptual level, and also look at the knowledge inside your company and understand that at a conceptual level, actually took search to the next level. So that was actually a key insight.
Interesting. So if without transformer model, you may not be able to release the first version of your product.
I think transformers made a big difference. I think we would have still been a really good product, like, because I would say that transformers impact at the time was maybe 10%. Even today, like in search, the impact of transformers is 20%. But like, every one of those things matter at the end. If you have a product that actually answers questions 3 times out of 5 versus 4 times out of 5 correctly, that makes a big difference in usage and how people, come back and start to trust your system.
So maybe you already gave me the answer. You said at the beginning it was 10% impact to the overall quality. After ChatGPT with GPT-4, 5, what is the impact of the GPT?
Yeah. Well, so like remember that in while we had transformers in
maybe you can walk us through where do you even use AI in the first place?
Yeah. So when we started the company, we used transformers at the time, and we used it for conceptual or semantic matching. At that time, the LLM technology was not powerful enough to generate their own words or sentences, their own answers, and the transform technology was also not powerful enough to reason in a big way, but they could do fuzzy conceptual matching. So our first product, was actually, it actually looked, the look and feel of it was mostly like Google. Most of the times you would ask questions and we'll show you the best matching documents or conversations. Sometimes we'll actually extract answers because LLMs could not write on their own, but they could actually extract some, answers to specific questions. So that's how we started. But then over the years, transformer technology has improved so much. The models have become so large and so much more capable. And with those reasoning and generation capabilities, it actually allowed us to actually do something different and evolve our product. So why, we were actually, before the chat GPT launch and right after that as well, we were already on that path to actually utilize that latest capabilities from language models to reason and generate and change our core product experience fundamentally and move, basically take it one step further. So before, you could actually come and ask questions in Glean, you could ask them in natural language, and we would actually surface the right, documents from your inside your company. But now, like just like ChatGPT, we could actually go one step further. We could take those documents that search returns, and then make the model take the question and those results, the data from those results, and actually synthesize its own response. So we could go and to this more question answering mode where you are asking a question and now AI is actually writing the answer for you by reading the results that search returned, and so that was architecture. It was a rack architecture that we launched in 2022 at the same time as ChatGPT. And it like, like fundamentally, like I think for a lot of people that was a big leap. Like, people were not interested in sifting through, like going through like, 10 documents, reading like long documents to get answer to a quick question they have. They want instant gratification. Like, I have a question, just give me the answer. Right. And so that was a big leap. LLMs allowed us to actually advance our product. And so now if you think about Glean, think of it as ChatGPT, like a more powerful version of ChatGPT inside your enterprise. You come to Glean, you ask questions, and we will not only use all of the world's knowledge, but also all of your internal company's private, knowledge in a safe and secure way, knowing who you are. So only use the knowledge that you have permissions to use to then answer your questions or help you with your tasks. So that was the evolution. And like these language models fundamentally played a role in sort of help us like taking our product from a more Google-like to a more ChatGPT-like experience.
So it sounds like initially it's like understanding the user's query, right? Understand, and then that's where you apply the transformer models. Now you're actually generating the answer, not just giving me the documents, but also giving me the real answers out of it.
Yeah.
Where do you see the AI adoption in the enterprise adoption cycle, in the sense that like a Glean is just one of the tools, and then you probably are talking to companies, and then for a variety of the enterprise use cases, how do you see where things are?
Well, so first of all, every enterprise that we talk to is very keen on bringing AI technologies inside their company. And they want to also ensure that their workforce is learning how to leverage AI, becoming AI first, changing their habits, and be ready for that future. So there's a very, very large appetite, like in terms of the desire from enterprises to do more things with AI. Now, and this actually, and it's not limited to the leading adopters of technology like tech companies themselves or healthcare or financial services. It's actually every sector in the industry is like that. And I'll give you an interesting story. Um, I went to meet with the CIO of a railroad company which is like 200 years old. And when I entered the office, the CIO actually asked me, "Why are you here? Don't you know that I don't buy technology? That I'm actually still on using mainframes from 30 years back or like 50 years back, and I've missed every single technology trend that you can name, whether it's the internet or mobile or SaaS or cloud or you name it, and I missed it. So why are you here?" Um, and well, that was a difficult question. And before I could think about like an answer for it, he says, "But don't worry, I'm not missing the AI trend." and I'm going to actually leapfrog. And I missed all of those, like technology, revolutions, but I'm going to catch up by actually embracing AI right away. So that's the level of appetite. Now, the how much our business is succeeding, I think it's still a struggle. Like, if you look into like what businesses have, for example, doubled their revenue or reduced their workforce by half, with AI, the answer is probably no. There's nobody out there that has done it. This is still an early technology, and what we're seeing as trends are, I would say, two different like primary trends. Number one, like everybody is thinking about education first, and how do I actually bring some AI tool that I can bring to to everybody in the workforce, so that they can just start, like, people can start to bring AI in their day-to-day work lives, get comfortable with it, and are not scared about it, like not scared about it, and like, and sort of be hostile to it because they feel like it's going to take your job away. So that's the first thing. And on that front, they I would say that, like, there's the most popular tools are like, either chat gpt or copilot or Glean, because these are tools that like every employee can use on a day-to-day basis. Now, of course, we are the best, that you won't be surprised to hear that from me, but among all of them. But that's sort of the first tool that you're bringing is general purpose AI tool that has all of the world's knowledge, and ideally like also all of your company's knowledge, that you can give to employees. And it's not specific, it's just ready for you to take whatever questions you have, bring the right answers, is ready to do some of your tasks for you. And that is seeing success. So companies are deploying them at scale, and employees are reporting good productivity savings from that. um, but the other set of tools, like, there's no shortage of AI products in the industry, and enterprises are bombarded with thousands of these other pitches, on a daily basis from AI companies. um, and largely, people are struggling to see success on those vertical tools, I would say. For example, there is a tool that promises that, hey, you don't need business development representatives anymore, like you can just have AI call your customers and generate leads, for your sales team. So there are products for that. But I think, like when you start to think about going really deep and thinking about doing something that a human could do, I think AI is still not ready for that. And the you so whenever somebody makes huge big promises about completely like eliminating, a human, from a workflow, from a business process, those tools are generally failing at the moment. Like there's still, like, AI has issues with hallucination, it has issues with data connectivity. So things are still very early, I would say, in most enterprises. But some um, there are pockets of successes, I would say. Engineering, of course, like, you're seeing how engineers are actually actively trying to use tools like, these code gen tools, whether it's Claude or others, to really sort of speed up, your code development, to speed up code reviews. Customer support is a big domain where there's clear success with AI. Like, we've delivered a lot of success with that with Glean. um, Large customers like T-Mobile, they have, 50,000 plus customer service agents, and they're resolving tickets, 40% faster than before, because AI is doing most of it for them now. So humans are still in the loop, in each one of those use cases, but they're actually moving at twice the speed. And so there's significant sort of like wins across functions, across, these use cases. But like, when you think about where we will be, where we thought we will be today, we're behind. And I think where we will be in 5 years from now is going to be far more dramatic than, the progress that we've seen today.
So you mentioned two things I want to double click. One is you said double the productivity at half of the resource.
Yeah.
The industry is not there.
Yeah.
When do you think the industry will be there? Why?
Yeah. Well, I think first I would say the concept of eliminating staff is not a positive construct for any business to think. You have to always think about AI is not so much about efficiency gains. I mean, it does that. It does a good job at it. It can really automate a lot of things that it do today. But the bigger value of AI is, augmenting all of us with new capabilities, allowing us to do work, kind of work that we could not do before. I'll give you an example. As a product manager, um, the if you're building a product for enterprises, the way you think about your roadmap and new features that you want to build is that probably you'll go and talk to 10 or 15 of your most important customers, and you'll conduct an interview. You'll sort of see some features that they want from you, and then based on that you build a roadmap. um, but and that's very limited. That has a very narrow view. What we do now today at Glean is different. We have tens of thousands of these customer and prospect calls, where our where our potential customers or our existing customers are constantly telling us the problems that they're trying to solve, the needs that they have. But there's so much of that data that's across 100,000 customer calls, and a product manager simply could not go through each one of them and listen to them. But now with AI, you can actually build an agent that goes through every one of those calls, um, understands the key feature requests that were actually talked about, organize them by themes, and give you a prioritized roadmap based on the voice of those 1,000 customers as opposed to those 10 customers. And that's an example of a thing that as a product manager you couldn't do before, but now you can. So in terms of how long is it going to take for us to double our productivity? The My guess is that we would get there. Um, at a macro scale, it's like I think I can make a very comfortable bet that the GDP of United States is not going to double in 5 years. It's not going to happen. But companies that leverage AI or departments that leverage AI, they will be able to easily go 2x faster in the work that they do without any doubts. So that is sort of my take. And if you don't do it as a business, then you are going to actually lose to competition.
So double the productivity in how many years?
Oh, easily, I mean, every one of us, in this room, for example, we should be looking to be able to do at least double our productivity, within the next, year or two.
That's the company wide. And then you also mentioned engineers are using like cloud or maybe Cursor of the world doing coding. What's your practice within Glean? Like how much code is written by AI? What percentage? And then, by the way, this is a question from our Neo Show audience.
Yeah, I think we are overall metrics wise. I think we have on the new lines of code that are being written, about 30% of them are being written by whether it's autocomplete in the code or a cloud code kind of.
What's that percentage a year ago? And then what's the percentage, in your opinion, a year from now?
A year ago, it was probably zero. I don't think we were using any significant tools at the time. We had GitHub Copilot, and it was doing some autocomplete for us, but we were not even bothering to check what it was doing in terms of now the new tools, because they have to actually make money, so they give you more insights and analytics so you can see that data. A year from now, my guess is that that number will go up significantly. We haven't set goals internally, but I would expect that majority of the code, 50+% of the code lines, will be written by AI. That doesn't mean that you actually move twice as fast as a whole, because when you think about the life cycle of an engineer, you'd be if you like to write code, you'd be lucky to actually get more than 20% of your time writing code. You still have to do a lot of other work, like you have to review other people's code, you have to engage in design discussions, you have to actually spend time supporting, troubleshooting, debugging issues, being on call. So, code writing itself is a small part of a software development life cycle. So there's a lot of other things that we also do at our company. So it's not just getting code written through, and for that we actually don't use our own tool. For that we use our teams use a whole bunch of tools. Some of them like Cloud Code, some of them like Cursor, some of them have also used Windsurf, some of them use GitHub Copilot, some of them are using the latest Amazon thing.
Interesting. So you are not standardizing on one tool.
We're not standardizing on one tool for code development because most of these are local tools, so we feel comfortable. Like, the machines are the machines are endpoint protected. So, and data that we make sure that none of these tools are actually sending any of our code, like something that gets retained outside, because we have serious enterprise customers, and like we have to meet our security requirements. But we do allow different developers to use different tools. But outside of code development, like Glean is actually used more heavily by our engineering teams. Whether you are trying to onboard on a new project and trying to learn how some piece of technology works, or like build code review agents that actually obey and enforce your style guides, and these are for troubleshooting and debugging. Like, we have an agent that does which sits with the on-call team and will take a first pass at trying to resolve, like, any alert that fires. So those are also some of the things that we using AI heavily for.
So you started a company doing the enterprise search, but recently I noticed that you are kind of positioning yourself more than just enterprise search, but also building enterprise workflow on top of the Glean system. Can you just give people some, like, what's the vision and then why did you do it?
Yeah. Well, so we very much started as a search company. We thought that was like, I always felt like search was magic. Like, I've worked on it for so long. And to be able to actually like quickly find the things that people are looking for, show it to them so they don't have to spend time trying to find things or bother other people. I thought that was magic. That was so great. Like, and 1/3 of all working time is spent just looking for information. So I thought that we would actually build the most important product in the enterprise just by building search. At that time, we didn't have the vision that, there's so much more we could be doing because of like how fast AI technology will evolve. So now it's actually way more. Like, now it's actually about doing 90% of your work with you for you using AI. That's the vision that we have now. We want to make every person a 10xer. But in terms of like how we've evolved our company and our product line, so starting with search and now moving to a conversational AI assistant, that's been a very natural journey. That's incremental in the sense that we could go one step further and go beyond surfacing information to actually answering questions for people. But then to build this product, to build this conversational AI assistant and search, we had to do a lot of work, a lot of investment in our platform. We had to actually go and build integrations with hundreds of enterprise systems. We had to go and understand the security and governance architecture of your data and knowledge inside of those systems. We had to do things that I was talking about before, building this knowledge graph, and also what I call now the enterprise brain. And I'll talk a little bit about that if we have time. But sort of understanding like, what content matters, how work happens inside your company. That platform that we build to power that personal product for every employee, that platform itself is actually very valuable, and we got a lot of demands from our customers as well as technology partners, other software companies, like whether it is Zoom or Miro or Sigma. They said that, like, look, you have actually built a great platform that brings all of the enterprise context in one place, and if you had an API, we would love to use it and actually build our own AI features, make them better using that context that Glean can provide. So that was sort of the start of our journey to actually expose that underlying platform that powers our search and assistant products directly to our customers as an agent building platform, and as a system of context API platform for our SaaS partners. So that's where we're going next.
So I think the basic premise is you already did all the heavy lifting of connecting all the contacts and all the data. Why not doing a lot more than that? So in the past, you are kind of the Google for enterprise, but in the future, what is the analogy? Workday for enterprise? What is that?
There is no analogy. Like, AI changes everything. Like, it changes how organizations are built. And so, but the way we describe ourselves is we are the horizontal AI platform for your enterprise. And I think, like, if you think about a tech stack, I think the right tech stack for an enterprise in the future, for AI is going to be that at the lowest level of layers, you have models, LLMs. And in fact, every enterprise is going to use many different LLMs, not just one. Like, you won't actually standardize on OpenAI or Claude or Gemini. They're all going to get better at different things. So you will have like a model hub layer at the bottom where you're basically making use of the best LLM innovation that is happening. And on top of that, you're going to have this horizontal system of context layer like Glean, where you're actually taking all of your company's collective institutional memory, you're taking your enterprise collective human intelligence, bringing it all together in this one platform that now sort of is available for higher level applications, whether they're vertical applications or agent builders that can tap into that system of context to actually build agents for different business processes.
What's the benefit of me using Glean underlying system and then use maybe Replit of the world to do the applications myself, or using Glean to do some applications? What's the benefit of using Glean to do it?
Yeah, so I think first, like you will use Glean as that horizontal, platform layer. Think about different, like what are you trying to do with AI? You are solving different business, process. You're trying to actually take business processes that require a lot of human time today, and you want to actually replace that with AI. That's sort of one of the one things that you want to do. So, for example, for your legal teams, they spend a lot of time redlining legal business contracts, and you get a 300-page document, a contract from a customer that you're going to sign. It's going to take you 3 weeks to actually go read them and redline it so that you make sure that the terms and conditions are correct. For in enterprise business, that you also like fill you get RFPs that you bid on, and to fill those RFPs, again, long processes. um, the for your sales teams, you want to actually make build agents that can help them quickly prospect new customers, write personalized messages to them. There are all these use cases, and you're trying to actually um, um, bring AI into those so that they get automated and you can move faster. But take think about any one of those agents. Fundamentally, what these agents do are they are actually working on information that's inside your business, sometimes potentially information that's outside of your business. They are using the intelligence of LLMs to do some work with that data, that knowledge, that information, and then ultimately they're going to save that work, potentially back in some of your enterprise systems. So almost all AI agents are have the same workflow, the same process. It's about working with some of your enterprise data and taking some actions into those systems. So when you think about a horizontal approach like Glean, well, we connect with all the systems first in one place. You don't have to actually go and buy 20 different products, like one for your sales engineering team, one for your legal team, one for your finance team, because all of the data that any one of those different department needs, they're all connected in this horizontal platform. So with one platform, you're able to actually build agents across all of your different business functions, and that's why like people actually are right now we're seeing a lot of business success because our customers see this as a way to consolidate AI usage through a single platform, which is not only efficient from a cost perspective, from a management perspective, but it's also very important from security point of view. Like because if you let like AI sprawl to happen and have 10,000 vendors all taking your business data, taking it into their cloud, you're losing control over the security of your own data. So if you follow the approach like ours, where like all AI usage is routed through a single platform, you can do auditing, governance, control all in one place.
Do you believe in vibe coding?
To believe. Well, I've been hearing a lot about vibe coding, and actually like the interesting thing is that so like as playing a role of a CEO, like I do spend a lot of time with other CEOs, and they were actually all I think like it was 3 months back maybe, and suddenly the our conversation shifted from like efficiency and business and scaling to, well, I'm vibe coding, I built this, I built that, like, and these are all CEOs talking about that, and I actually started to feel quite behind. Like I said, like, well, I'm actually the CEO of one of the most prominent Gen AI companies, and like I'm not vibe coding, so that this can't be it. Like I got to do something. So I started vibe coding, and so far, like, unfortunately, I'm failing. Like I haven't been able to build something amazing by using these tools um, like Replit or V0 or Lovable. But I've tried them all, and but I see the promise. Like I just need a little bit more time to actually go and really build systems, or these systems will get a little bit more better so that they can actually serve the need of me. Where ideally, what I want to say is that like, look, this is what I want, and just build the whole thing for me. Just run it for me. Today, I'm getting piecemeal, but not full solutions from these
But in
products.
some ways, building workflow on top of the Glean system, that's vibe coding too, right?
Yeah, that I mean, well, yes, that certainly I do a lot. Like so in Glean, we can go and
Meaning
just
that the non-technical people, not software engineers, can start building workflow. Is
yeah.
that the vision?
That's very much the vision of Glean. So what we want to do is we want to bring, the capability of building systems to every business user out there. You don't have to be an engineer, a technologist, but you still should be able to build. If you are a owner of a business process, for example, if you approve invoices or if you redline contracts, you should be able to just describe to an AI agent building platform like Glean that hey, like this is how I do this work. Now can you do it for me, right? And so our agent building platform is built, for those users, with those use cases in mind. And so we get there. So I've been successful, on those use cases, but the um, where it's sort of like some enterprise workflow that you're trying to automate, and you don't necessarily need writing code to do it. Yeah.
So I have one last question before we open up to the floor to our audience here. So a lot of people asking, in the new AI era, what sort of the skill set or characteristics they need to have or build to survive or thrive? Any thoughts on this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there is so much worry that AI brings to people about like, well, is my job going to be relevant or not? And believe it or not, like, I've spent a good amount of time chatting with students at Stanford, and this is like one of the top universities in the world. The hardest working students, go there and get the best education, and they're all like, doubting that hey, like, should I actually really, study software engineering anymore? Should I study computer science? And I don't think like anything changes as such from my perspective. I think all we have to do right now is just use AI tools and not overthink. Like the whatever tasks that you do today, see if there's a good tool that allows you to do it, and maybe you'll succeed. And if you succeed, then of course it's going to save you time and you're going to start using it more and more. And maybe you will fail, and if you fail, then just make sure that you know to try it again after a month or two. And that's all you have to do. Like, like basically, like technology trends come and people become experts on it through osmosis. You don't become an expert by explicitly thinking or planning. As long as you are in the middle of it, as long as you are keeping an open mindset, you can just learn all the tools, all the things that you need to learn. You'll automatically learn them. That's my take. So relax and don't feel any stress, and and actually be sort of be bold and be on that sort of on that journey of exploration. And there are a lot of cool tools, and I'm actually going through it. Like, I had the luxury of using Glean on a day-to-day basis. So like in some sense, I got AI enabled before others, because I could see the power of like AI and like how it could really synthesize information for me. But I also realized that we are just one of many, and now I'm actually playing more with other tools. And as I play with those other tools, I'm actually realizing how it is making me more independent, more self-reliant, and that's the world that we're going to be in. So the just to like maybe add one more thing to it, the future is going to be different, and maybe you won't have a role of a software engineer and a verification engineer and um, um, a product manager and a product designer and a data scientist. I think what will happen is that maybe there'll be a little bit more merging of skills. Already, for example, today as a engineer, let's say you want to build a system, you may not feel that you actually need a designer to actually put your ideas to life, because well, you can go into, I guess, for whatever is it Figma, Make, or is it Vercel, and you can just go and design by just expressing, things, and it's going to actually create those beautiful mocks and designs for you and prototypes. And similarly, if you're a designer and you have a idea to build something, well, you can go to Cursor or Cloud Code and actually get a lot of things built, as a designer. So there will be a little bit of that merging of skills that's going to happen in the future. And I think you will get there yourself as long as all you have to do is use the tools.
Cool. Thank you a lot. I think, by the way, I should have said that at the beginning. You just recently raised 7.2 billion. Oh, sorry, at a valuation of $7.2 billion valuation last round. And the Sam Altman, the OpenAI CEO, recently said, actually a few days ago, said that there's a lot of hype in that. I'm pretty sure Glean is not one of them. Yeah. Do you see like startups these days, AI startups, there is tremendous hype?
There is tremendous hype, yes. And I think it comes, it happens because there's a very, very big prize at the end of it. And I think in some sense, investors, like they make bets, and they are making more and more speculative bets, which are riskier. But they're hoping that one out of, their 10 bets or 15 bets is going to make it, and that's all they need to, do. So there is no question that, like, when you see a company that has not built anything get a $10 billion valuation, like, that we've not seen that before, right? So the I would say that, in the grand scheme of things, though, this I think, like, people are not confused. I mean, AI is indeed going to change how work happens, and I also fundamentally believe that if you look forward 10 years, 15 years, and pick the world's most valuable companies, the ones that are making the most impact, the one that have the highest market value, the top 5 companies will all be AI companies, by then. That's not the case today. Like, we're already seeing it. The top company by market cap now is NVIDIA, which is, and that's, like, on the basis of AI. But these are, like, big shifts and trends that are going to, like, we're going to see. And similar, like, like today, the largest companies in the world are all software companies. If you go back 20, 25 years back, it was not the case. Like, the largest companies were financials, oil and gas. But now the tech companies are 10 times bigger than, those largest companies of the past 2 decades. And I think you're going to see the same phenomenon with AI. And that is what is driving this hype cycle.
Thanks. It sounds like you are cautious about it, but the future is all about AI still. Do we have any questions from the audience? Iskandar.
Hi. Great talk, by the way. So my question is not only specifically to Glean. I would say it's like products that they use AI. So in our side, it will be more consumer. So the question is, like, now these products that use AI are as good as what the LLM is, on top of, like, some prompting that you do on top, right? So what will make a person, a consumer, or an enterprise decide one tool over the other one if they kind of all do the same? Like, if the model is bad, it's bad. If the model is good, is what is good. So there's not going to be a huge difference between two companies that kind of offer the same, except a small prompting. So would you say that the thing that will change that will be more like the user experience, the platform, something like Cursor, I would say, that is like offers the same thing as Copilot in general, but is like nice. Like, people like it because it offers like that experience. Do you think that's the difference, or is more the prompting itself that will make a big difference of why to choose one or the other one? Because also someone can just create a new company, right? Like, you do something, and then tomorrow there is a small, like, as you say, one student in Stanford that decides to do that, and then they use the LLM, which they can use with an API, and then offer the same thing. So is the experience the thing that makes the difference?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. One of the questions from the community was, what's your moat? But then, after you explained the journey you went through, I didn't ask that question, because the fact you are able to connect all the data sources, that alone is a big moat, right? But I think Iskandar's question is, there are a gazillion other companies, they don't connect with hundreds of data sources. What's their moat?
Yeah. I mean, for us, like, we have a few different pieces of technology in our architecture. Like, it is data integrations. It is, the unified security model, governance model. It is, building that knowledge graph and the enterprise brain. And in fact, actually, that's where most of our technology is in that top layer, the enterprise brain layer. But well, look, first of all, if you are building a prompt and if that is your product, well, you haven't built a whole lot. And so, yes, you will, like you may get some, customers initially, but like customers can also recognize that like, I can do it myself too, or there are plenty of others. So the LLM technology is just like any other technology that is at your disposal. And that doesn't actually, you cannot build a company because the LLM was so good. I mean, everybody has it, as you said. And so, like, for you to build winning products, you have to solve real problems that require you to do good amount of engineering on top of like, these shared capabilities that everybody else also has, whether it's LLMs, whether it is cloud infrastructure, building scalable systems there. And so what distinguishes good products from others, or what like helps you build a business, is yes, like product experience is actually a very important thing. The uh, like I think like people are very much like looking for seamless sort of work experiences, and the if you can deliver them, if you can get that that user delight, that is actually sort of like then gives you that motion and that success. So yes, of course, you have to think of LLM as nothing special, like just one other technology in your stack, and then you have to think about the business problem that you're trying to solve, and then solve solve it in a great way.
Yeah, thanks.
And by the way, there have been these examples of rappers that grew to like very fast revenue and then actually came back immediately as well. So that's already happening. The thing that you mentioned.
Yes. First of all, thank you. Really, really great conversation. I'm also trying vibe coding and Lovable is not working. If Howie asked me to try Replit, I haven't tried it. So like you mentioned that there's like right now it's like the general purpose, right? Like tools like ChatGPT is getting popularity. And on the vertical agents, maybe only coding and customer support is seeing success. Like what's the reason of like the other verticals? Like we're like, for example, financial services, another one. Like why? Like, why is that? Like, what's difficult about it to build the vertical agent there? And where do you think the industry is in the maturity curve in terms of those vertical agents development?
Yeah. Well, first, I mean, I think I should clarify there are pockets of success everywhere. For example, in healthcare, there's this company called Abridge, which allows doctors to take notes, and they're seeing great success, with AI there. In fact, the is fundamentally improving that, doctor to nurse to patient communication. In legal domain, there are companies like Harvey that are saving a lot of time for teams as they go through these contracts. In fact, actually, like like our legal team, like we actually use Glean like an agent, for that use case of redlining a contract, because if you think about it, it's so mechanical. You have there are 10 terms and conditions that you really care about, and you want them to be a certain way, and you just have to go read a doc and change those things there. So I think like success is actually happening, but I think I think the biggest hurdle right now is number one, like the need for high accuracy, because LLMs are fundamentally probabilistic in nature, and you can't trust them for many things that they're going to do. For example, and like when because of that, then in these certain industries they actually disallow the use of it, or this like it's explicitly prohibited. Like you cannot actually have AI, for example, give investor advice. Because the companies are worried that they're going to get sued if that starts to happen. And so there are a lot of these other practical considerations which is also coming in the way. But then also like the fact that a lot of use cases require you to be really precise, and AI is more of a like a human, a good thinker that you get. So like the use cases actually benefit from those kind of things, that's where you make more progress.
Anyone else? If not, maybe give us some parting wisdom. You already give us some, suggestion about for people to thrive in the AI era, right? Doing more exploration. But a lot of us we are building AI products, right? Putting AI in the products or maybe AI native products. Maybe give us an advice, given your experience, you have been doing AI products since 2019. What would be one advice you would leave to our team building those AI products?
Yeah, so I'll just repeat some of the ones that I already gave and then add one more. So first is, be in the exploration mode and try tools, try AI as much as you can. Number two, you are going to see failures, with AI, and that doesn't mean that you're not going to try it again. Like, make sure that you don't give up and keep at it. And number three, I think uh, like my opinion is um like I think like do not also feel the the pressure to succeed immediately, with AI. Like it's a long term thing. Even in your products, as you are trying to sort of build AI features, um, like don't feel pressure, from your management, as an example, to deliver something, when the fundamental technology is not behind, and just be in that sort of engineering mindset. Communicate freely to to your executive teams, because I know like how the CEOs come and talk. They're going to actually ask you to make results happen fast, and when and it's your job to sort of tell them what's reality. But be on that journey, without pressure.
So it sounds like it's a journey, have faith, but it's a long-term faith. That's
Yes,
kind of what you're
absolutely.
saying.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'm not going to finish any fireside chat without doing a selfie. Let's do a selfie and then we are good to go. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for this.